Franciscan, a birthday corn, the birthday first and the poopity corn.
Hi, this is Sheila Lindsay from Lindsay Farms Kitchen. This is our first installment of how to do some easy cooking so you look like you're a good cook when it really didn't take much time. And today we're going to do beer bread. And if you're afraid of beer, don't worry because the cooking process cooks the alcohol out, so this is non-alcoholic. And instead of beer, we're going to use Red's Apple Ale. If you're watching your calories, you can use light beer. And I'm always watching my calories, so I substitute butter in a recipe for light butter, and I substitute sugar for stevia or monk fruit or erythritol. And so that's how you can cut your calories. All right, let's start with what we need. Beer bread is a very simple recipe. Use 3 cups of self-rising flour, and it must be self-rising. And I've already got 2 cups of flour in here, so this is my 3rd cup of self-rising flour. And the next thing I'm going to add is 1/4 of a cup of sugar or stevia for a little sweetness. And then I'm going to use 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. And I'm using light butter, and you can use up to 1/2 cup of melted butter, but just to cut calories, we're using 1/4 of a cup. The other thing you can use in this recipe is you can put half the butter in the batter, and the other half you can pour over the top, which makes it a crusty bread. But this is not going to be a crusty bread today. Okay, there we go. We've got 3 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of light butter, 1/4 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and now this is the good stuff. This is a bottle of Red's Apple Ale, or you can use beer or light beer. And the reason this bread works is because the yeast in the beer makes the bread rise. So here we go. We're going to stir this up. Nothing could be easier than this. This is a really easy recipe. And you did want to preheat your oven to 375. So that's what we've already done. You want to start by preheating your oven always. And the reason I like this recipe is because making bread has always seemed like a long drawn-out process where you have to knead the dough and you have to let it rise for an hour, then you punch it down, let it rise again. We don't have to do any of that. None of that. This is a quick bread, and it's quite delicious. For all you busy mothers out there, this is a perfect recipe. And if you're entertaining your mother-in-law, she'll think you spent the whole day in the kitchen. I mean, lots of reasons for making this bread. I'm a bread person, and I'm always watching my calories. So when I discovered this recipe and how to lighten it up a little bit, I thought I'd gone to heaven. There's actually an Israeli bread diet out there, which is wonderful. So if you've ever tried the Israeli bread diet, I say give it a go. But right now I'm doing Weight Watchers, and Weight Watchers suits me just fine. Okay, here we go. We've got our dough. Now, what I've done is I've prepared this bread bowl with some Pam cooking spray and a little bit of flour. And all you do is you put your bread dough right in the bread pan. I mean, girls, how could it be any easier than this? For all my nieces out there and my granddaughter and my daughter-in-laws, I recommend this recipe. Okay. Now, the longest part of this recipe is that you have to bake it for an hour. So, allow for that. This is our bread. Viola, it's all done. And here it is, going in the oven. 375 for 1 hour. We're done. Come back in a little bit, about an hour now. We'll give it a taste, okay? Okay, people, here it is. This is our beer bread. Doesn't it look good? So, what I want you to do is to just turn this out let it completely cool. I would give it at least 30 minutes to cool before you try to slice it even longer if you've got the time. Doesn't that look good? Okay. Thank you so much. This is the end of our first episode. Remember this. You see that little like button? I want you to click the like button and subscribe. And if you click the little arrow down there, there will be the recipe for you. And I just want you to remember that Jesus said he was the bread of life. So God bless you. Real good.